Hey guys, PK here. What I found is that most people, they build themselves an income that harvests their human energy into a salary or a wage, right? And it's good, the structure's okay, but it only works on a tiny scale. You can work a 9 to 5, make, 70, 80, 90, maybe $100,000. But if you really want a higher income, your energy and time are finite. So you can't scale that, trading time for money thing doesn't work. So as soon as things grow, as soon as you have a desire or that desire translates into action and practicality and results and your income grows, your wage grows, that is when chaos descends. Okay? And your time and energy are sucked up, defeating the entire purpose of growing your income in the first place. Why am I saying all this, right? Property investing. Please don't be repulsed by my constant promotion of property investing, but it's really true. It really does decouple that link between income and effort. And that is the definition of passive income. And I think so many of you, especially if you're brand new to property investing, you think, well, I got to get this right, which is true. And you just automatically say, well, I don't know anything about it. I got to outsource this to, one of these buyer's agents or property investment companies that I see on Facebook ads or YouTube ads or, DMing me or a friend is telling me about. Okay. But this episode, I go into the truth about buyer's agents and whether you really need one. I'm very, very outspoken on this. I'm probably the only person with any influence, as small as it may be, in the Australian real estate industry who has this opinion based on facts. Okay, you won't hear this type of content in any other real estate channel anywhere in Australia that you're following. Okay, so it's going to change your worldview. And I want you to stick around to the end. And I want to apologize as well. I'm always try to be honest. I want to apologize for the audio quality because I recorded this impromptu, unscripted, unprepared in the Gold Coast hinterlands as I was going on a bit of a trek with my family. I just got the phone out and recorded it. So, the content is fire, but there's a few cicadas and crickets and things like that in the background. So please ignore them. We've tried to take that out as much as possible, but I really did want to include that, in this content in this episode because the content is really just too good not to include. So I hope you get a ton of value out of it and are really, reshaping your thinking based on not just what I'm saying, obviously I have an agenda, but just based on reality. Welcome to the Oz Property Investment Mastery Podcast. My name's PK and I help busy people build passive income by buying top 5% growth and positive cash flow property and build a portfolio using data without wasting months doing research, spending weekends at inspection or catching flights, or dropping $10,000 to $20,000 on buyer's agents every single time. So if you're confused, lack confidence, and just overwhelmed with all the information and marketing misinformation available online and don't know where to start, then this show is for you. Okay, so buyer's agents. Buyer's agents are a relatively new phenomenon. In the States, in the USA, they're quite more common. They've been quite prevalent in the real estate industry for about 20 years or more. And the average buyer's agent in the USA charges or costs around $2,000 to $4,000. I know that's way less than what they charge here, which is between $10,000 and $20,000. Now in Australia, it's more of a new phenomenon. Like when I started investing, buyer's agents weren't really a big thing. I think about 10 years ago, there was about 200 buyer's agents across Australia. And now in 2020 or going on to 2021, I think there's more like 1,200 or 1,500. What happened was that between 13 and 17, the Sydney market and the Melbourne market boomed. All these people either got lucky or did really well through skill and talent, and they decided to leave their 9 to 5 and become a buyer's agent. And because all of the podcasts that you guys consume, all of the content that you guys consume on Facebook groups, on books, on podcasts, on forums and magazines, all of these things, it's all run by buyer's agents. It seems like you need one, okay? Because they're all saying the same thing. Now, I'm not against buyer's agents. I have a lot of friends who are buyer's agents as well. But let me take you through the pros and cons of using a buyer's agent. But I just want to say, because all the content, like if you're brand new to real estate, if you're brand new to property investing and you're like, well, I need to figure out where to start. I need to figure out how to do research. How do I get a loan? Where do I buy? What do I buy? Positive cash flow, growth, all of these terms that you hear and you start to become educated about. The way that you're educating yourself for free is through all this content that buyer's agents are producing, podcasts, Facebook groups, online forums, chats, books. I'm probably missing a whole bunch here as well. There's so many. YouTube's the other one. Lots of buyer's agents on YouTube. And because they're saying the same thing, they're saying, look, to become a property investor, you need a team. It's a team sport, right? You need a mortgage broker, you need a conveyancer, you need a tax accountant, you need property manager, which are all true, by the way. And then they kind of slip in, you need a buyer's agent. It's not bad to have a buyer's agent, but you don't need a buyer's agent, okay? But because all this content that you're consuming suggests that you need a buyer's agent, and that brand new people who know nothing about property investing need a buyer's agent, that's why people are tricked. Or, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If enough buyer's agents are saying that you need a buyer's agent, and if all the content in Australian real estate is produced by them, then everyone, especially if you're a novice property investor, thinks that you need a buyer's agent. And even in sort of independent so-called podcasts. Now, I'm sure you've heard the podcast, The Property Couch, right? I'm sure you heard of it. It's actually a fantastic podcast, has done a lot for a lot of people. But once again, they're buyer's agents. There's a particular bias behind that. They even have a course that they sell for $300. But once again, it's advertised as a DIY. You don't need us. You don't need to spend $16,000 on us. Go do the course. $300 course, what are you going to get out of it? It's basically an upsell to their product, to their buyer's agency. Smart Property Investment Show. Now, hosted by Phil Tarrant. It's actually a fantastic show. I still listen to it every now and then. I used to be hooked on it when I first started. I actually got a lot out of it, so just massive kudos to that podcast. But once again, every person that they interview is a buyer's agent. It's buyer's agent after buyer's agent after buyer's agent. And here's the thing, the majority of money that the podcast makes is through sponsorships. Guess who's sponsoring them? It's buyer's agents. A minimum of $30,000 to $40,000 to have your ads on that show, on the magazine, on the website by Smart Property Investor. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it at all. But the only thing that I'm trying to convey is that once again, it is marinated in the bias. That show, its content is marinated in the bias that you need a buyer's agent. Okay, I could go on, and there's actually two biggest advantages that I see of using a buyer's agent. And I'm not a buyer's agent, but here's two advantages of using a buyer's agent. Number one, if you're sort of a very, very busy business owner or a busy executive, a general manager, a group executive, a CEO, and you have not even 2 hours a week for about 2 months to spare to learn property investing, to learn strategy, to learn data, and execute that. If you don't have that kind of time, 2 hours a week for about 2 months, then I'll be honest with you, a buyer's agent, a good one, there's 1,500, only a good one is actually probably the right move for you, because you have no time to figure the stuff out yourself, and it's better to pay someone to do it and just get it done, because property is a fantastic asset class. So that's the first reason that you would actually use a buyer's agent. And the second reason is if you have no interest in property. If you're just thinking, look, I have money in the bank, I have no preference of whether it's stocks, real estate, Bitcoin, or anything else. I just want my money working hard for me. I don't really want to learn about property. It's kind of really boring to me. If that's you, then once again, property can make you a lot of money, but it can also eat you for lunch if you don't know what you're doing. So if you have zero time and zero passion for property, then it's probably a good idea to use a buyer's agent as well. But that's kind of where it ends. Okay, so let me debunk a few things. Some people think that it's a good idea to go through a buyer's agent and pay $10,000 to $20,000 for the privilege to do so, because they negotiate better, because they are better negotiators. Here's the real deal. Now, buyer's agents, because they work on volume, right? They work on volume. They need to buy properties for their clients again and again and again and again in the same location to be able to make money. That's how their business works. Because that is the case, they need to establish and maintain very good relationships with local real estate agents. What that means sounds good on the surface. What it really means is they don't negotiate as hard as they ought to. They don't negotiate as hard as they could, and they don't negotiate as hard as they should. What's the reason? Like, let's say the valuation of a property is 500. They're not going to try to get it for 460. They're not going to try to get it for 480 in most cases, because they don't want to make enemies with the real estate agent. They're relying on that agent to bring them or to sell them more and more and more properties, because that's how the buyer's agent will satisfy their clients. Whereas if you learn to do it yourself, then you can negotiate in a way that you kind of create a frenemy. My grandfather used to say that if you buy a house and the real estate agent kind of doesn't like you towards the end, you haven't negotiated hard enough. Now, I'm not sure if I fully agree with that saying, but the whole point is that if you negotiate as hard as you can, as strategically as you can, by learning the right techniques, by learning the right strategies, which by the way aren't hard, then you can get a better negotiation outcome than a buyer's agent. The second thing, buyer's agent bring you off-market deals. Not true. Okay, off-market deals are not the monopoly of buyer's agents. There have been property investors in the last 50 years in Australia that have bought hundreds of thousands of properties off-market, which means that they didn't list on realestate.com.au. In the last year, in 2020 alone, more than 30 of my clients have bought properties off-market without using a buyer's agent. Okay, just through education, just through knowledge. This third reason that you don't need a buyer's agent, some people think that you need to be on the ground and really understand a suburb before you want to buy there. Not true. These days, the data tells you everything. And we're not talking high-level data like vacancy rate and historical growth and yield. We're talking really micro data that once you learn this, you can actually form a rich picture of what's going on in a suburb, right? And there's no reason to smell the coffee at a local cafe. There's no reason to go hang out with the teachers at the local school. There's no reason to smell the paint on the white picket fence on the houses in that area. That stuff makes no difference, right? Schools could be great. White picket fence could be really white. Coffee could smell and taste awesome, but the suburb could tank. Right? There is nothing you achieve from walking around the suburb, driving around the suburb, that cannot be achieved in 2020, 2021 online. That's a fact. And I dare you to challenge me on that. It's true. Okay, so you don't need to be on the ground. That's one of the sales or marketing tactics of buyer's agents. Oh, look, you're in Sydney, you want to buy in Adelaide, or you want to buy in Brisbane. I'm here on the ground. I know everything. Doesn't matter. It doesn't work that way. You can learn all that stuff, right? And that's the other thing. The fourth thing why you don't need a buyer's agent. People think that, oh, look, well, property and real estate is not my specialization. I'm an IT, or I'm an engineer, or I'm a carpenter, or I'm something else. I can't learn property. The reality is that to become a buyer's agent, you need a 4-day, pretty high-level real estate course. I think it's 4 days or something like that. So this stuff isn't hard, right? And by doing that license, it doesn't make you a good or bad property investor or a good or bad buyer's agent, right? What you can achieve by yourself without a buyer's agent is exactly the same, if not more, than through a buyer's agent if you educate yourself. It's not rocket science. It's not like going to Harvard or MIT and doing a rocket science degree. It's just processes, it's just data, it's just a methodology, it's just a system, a sequence of processes, steps that you need to follow. And once you understand them, then you can get the same results. Now, of course, by going to all the free content online, you can start to develop a sense of what all this stuff is, but you won't have it locked down, especially not the data side, where to buy and what to buy. That is really where the more science comes in. And I'll tell you, 80% of buyer's agents don't even do that. They just follow the population growth. They just follow where the good schools are, the good shopping centers are, where the parks are. Anyone can do that, but that doesn't even constitute advanced property investing. So that's number 4. Number 5, time. Right? People think that, okay, well, I'm interested in learning, but I don't have that kind of time. Once again, like I said at the start, all it takes is about 2 hours a week for about 2 months. Okay, that's all it takes. All it takes. If you know someone who's a successful property investor and can teach it to you for free, do that. It's free. Okay, but that's what I do for my students. You know, it takes about 2 hours a week for about 2 months, and you can become your own buyer's agent. In fact, you could sell your services much better than most buyer's agents out there, but that's not what I'm there to do. I'm mostly there to help you become self-sufficient, because the 6th disadvantage of going with a buyer's agent is that, sure, you may be lacking confidence. Sure, you may have never invested in property before, but if you go down the buyer's agent's route, then you're paying $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 every single time. And of course, if you only want to buy one property, then maybe that's an okay idea. But if you have aspirations to actually develop a passive income in 10 years' time or something like that, and buy 3, 4, 5, 6 properties, then it's really up to you. You know, do you want to pay $75,000 or $60,000 in buyer's agent's fees as you accumulate that portfolio? That's like another 1.5 deposits right there. Okay, so a lot of people think, let me go to a buyer's agent first and then I'll learn this stuff for myself. Well, if you're going to learn it for yourself anyway, because you don't want to pay that BA fee every single time, then why not learn at the start? Because by learning through a mentor that can hold your hand and rely on data, so it's not opinion, you can get the same level of confidence that the buyer's agent has in his or her service for yourself. Okay, so I think that's like number 6. I don't know if I've covered everything, but it was things like off-market opportunities. You can do that yourself. Negotiation, you can do that yourself. You can get off-market deals yourself every day of the week. Negotiation, you can do that just as well, if not, I would argue, better than a buyer's agent, because you can go hard once you learn. You don't need to be on the ground. The data tells you everything. You can use data and apply a system to take the 15,000 suburbs and boil them down to your top 2 or 3. It takes about 3 to 4 hours. You can be fully confident in that, done it hundreds of times. Time doesn't take very long, 2 hours a week for about 2 months. And you know, this whole confidence thing, a lot of people just go to a buyer's agent because they're not confident. It's just like anything. If you learn to do something, you can gain confidence in that for yourself. I know it seems hard. It's a bit like going in for that first job. You know, you go to the interview, you're not confident. You don't know if you'll be able to do the job. You're kind of putting on an act for the interviewer. You're hoping that you get the job and you're hoping that you'll be good at it. But once you've been in that job for like a couple of weeks, then you're like, of course I can do this. You know, I can do this pretty easy now. So it's just like that. It's a fear of the unknown. Once you just try to understand real estate investing, it is actually not that difficult. You can understand, 40% of the basics through free content online, YouTube, podcasts, and things like that. But the devil is in the detail. And for that, you need to really learn deep, precise data. That is the most important thing. And if you can build that confidence, which hundreds and thousands, everyone used to do that themselves before buyer's agents became a phenomenon 10 years ago. If you can do that, which is not hard, then you can save yourself, literally $50,000 to $100,000 of buyer's agent fees as you accrue a portfolio of 4, 5, 6 properties over the course of 5 or so years, or 5 to 10 years. It's entirely possible. Now, I have a massive bias in saying all this because I'm not a buyer's agent, but I'm just trying to be a little bit outspoken, a little bit of the underdog, trying to produce some content that is different to all the buyer's agencies that you guys will be following on podcasts, on YouTube, all that stuff. But just be careful, right? Just be careful that the content you consume, all of it is basically from buyer's agents. So you need to see the forest from the trees, take a step back and really see why they are saying what they are saying. Okay, if they are saying that it's all too hard, real estate is too difficult, you need a buyer's agent on your team, they'll find you off-market properties, they'll negotiate better than you could yourself, see it for what it is. Sometimes buyer's agents say that, buyer's agency is like an electrician. If you have an electrical problem at home, you're not going to try to figure it out yourself. You're going to hire a professional, someone who knows what they're doing, and they're going to do it for you in a way that's reliable, safe, and trustworthy. That's the argument they say. I would give it a different analogy. I would say they're more like a handyman, right? Let's say you wanted to mow the lawn. Now, of course, you can air tasker it and pay someone, or you can just do it yourself. Maybe that's not the best analogy because it's a little bit not super skilled. Let's say growing a vegetable garden, right? Okay, let's see where this goes. Growing a vegetable garden, not anyone can do it. You need to understand the season, the watering, the fertilizer, the types of plants that you need, the timing, how to maintain them. There's a science to it, right? You could say, look, this is too hard. I'm just going to get a landscaper. I'm going to get a professional to do this. Or you could learn to do it yourself. How many of you would say that it's impossible to learn how to create a veggie garden, a veggie patch, right? Almost no one. It's pretty easy. You just need to learn how to do it. So buyer's agent is like that. You can either outsource that, but really that's just very expensive labor hire. That's my view on most buyer's agents, unless you have no time and no passion. So once again, I hope you got a ton of value out of that, guys. Thank you for bearing with the audio quality. I hope you're not going to, penalize me for it, but I do apologize. But hopefully the content itself made up for it. My name's PK, and like always, I'm so grateful for all of you, each and every one of you, lending me your ears for this last sort of 20 minutes. I'm very grateful, and I'll see you next episode. Ciao.